Okay, so I scrolled across this and it just seems like a beautiful comedy setup that I would love to watch get turned into like a comic, a manhwa, or what manga or whatever. So yeah. Shen Yuan transmigrates as the young tyrant emperor of some world he knows absolutely nothing about. He has a system, but it's the type of system that doesn't actually do much. It just tells him he's a tyrant, sticks labels on people he's meant to know, showing their names and job titles, and maybe offers a basic lore codex. It's fine. And Yuan knows how this transmigration thing works. He just has to put together some context clues and keep an eye out for any drama. Maybe make his rule a bit less tyrannical, so the inevitable protagonist will simply exile him instead of something more severe like execution. It's a perfect plan! Not long after transmigrating, an old woman in rags with milky white eyes burst into his throne room, yelling about his empire's doom. And rather than kicking her out, as everyone expected, Shen Yuan starts excitedly asking questions and tells his aides to write down everything she says. A young man from a small town by the Luo River will rise up and take the throne, you say? Any idea which one? I'm starting that over because that was. I thought I was talking as the old lady. Shit. A young man from the small town of the Luo River will rise up and take the throne, you say? Any idea which town? How about which county, then? Hmm. Is there any information about the inciting incident that inspires his revolution? Is there some plague or famine on the horizon that's going to cause trouble for the people? Maybe a local corrupt official is abusing his authority? In the end, there's not much to go on. Almost everyone expects him to burn down every Luo River village or some nonsense, which would be foolish. When has harassing random villages ever done anything but make a protagonist righteously angry? No, what Shenwan actually does is pull out the reform plans he's been idly thinking up. Plans to root out corruption, plans for improving roads and other basic infrastructure, plans for storing and preserving food in case of famine, plans to aid the poor by giving out basic food rations and warm clothing in struggling areas, plans to build and fund free schools that teach basic math and literacy, plans for larger schools in bigger cities with more advanced lessons, vocational training programs, and subsidized or free tuition for gifted children, and so on. If some small town boy will become the next ruler, Shen Wan must make certain he at least has a decent enough childhood and the basic education necessary to rule well, right? Plus, it's much more likely he'll be able to retire gracefully if one of his programs successfully helps out the protagonist. Of course, our dear protagonists allow the Rain, Luo, Bing He, Bing He, really is helped out by Yun's efforts, even if he still ends up struck by the other types of misfortune. It's crystal clear to him the Emperor is great and benevolent, even if some people try to undermine him and abuse his kindness. After seeing a glimpse of the Emperor as he surveys the results of his efforts, Bing He's heart is set aflame. The Emperor is fearlessly beautiful as well as kind. If only Bing He were his equal, he would gladly beg for even a single touch of his hand. Fucking this seems like something Willow would enjoy. In the background, the system admin despairs over its decision to attach a limited interface module to the new Shen Qing Yu. At least there are a bunch of grumpy nobles around that can be reliably nudged into rebelling. If they manage to take over and the protagonist then rebels against them, in honor of the dead emperor, that still counts, right? Actually, in light of the protagonist's feelings, he might even be willing to take the throne of the Empress of this instead and become a regent prince. System admin will have to wait and see. No, it's this bottom section that really got me fucking smiling. Not gonna lie, imagine being the old prophecy woman. You bust your way into the court, spouting off prophecy of dooms, knowing full well you're gonna get booted. But surprise! The Emperor actually listens to you, despite what his advisors say, and against the Cassandra curse. And then he gives you a job, where all you have to do is say prophecy. And considering most prophetic old women tend to be homeless in these stories, honestly, can only imagine once she starts hitting these prophecies are about your rebelling nobles, my league. She kind of wants to ensure this moron stays alive. Mostly because if he dies, her cushy position goes up in smoke. Especially because no heirs. And then the Luau guy you prophesied about ages ago arrives. Code Red. Oh shit, is he? Oh shit, he's madly in love with the Emperor. And really, after the amount of shit happens, she's just got to realize this is the universe's favorite jester. He can get away with anything. And the universe will go, nice job. And then have 5 dudes fall in love with him. Really, after that, her stress levels would decrease dramatically, and she'd design herself, designate. I don't feel like the English works there, but whatever. To a cushy job. Maybe find an apprentice, keep this a permanent thing for future prophetic women. And it's the universe's favorite jester. Oh, I would love to read the comedy and chaos in that. I don't care if it's 2 dudes fucking each other. I'm fine without Yuri so long as the story is good.